Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by Roto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the bang!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah! I'm back, and that's right. We got about 3 more weeks of the NFL seasonal, so then my IDP section of this podcast is going to go away. Also, at the same time, the DFS will stay here all the way to the Super Bowl. I do not give a week off. I just go right through all the way to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my future schedule coming up soon because, of course, with the NFL about to end, UFC on a layoff right now. Also, eventually they'll come back, but then the NFL will be gone. That'll allow me to go full in on the UFC. But this is what we do. What's up, everybody? It's time for another Hard Hits review. Boom! Yeah. All right, so as you all know, I give out an IDP waiver wire pickup for tonight at the end of the show. Why I feel you should pick him up may be available in your leagues. He's definitely worth a shot. Also, you get the Macho pick of the week. Ooh, yeah.
Every single week, the Macho Man, the Macho pick gets to score touchdowns. Ooh, yeah. I'm 14-1 for the year. Dig it? Yeah. That's because the cream always rises to the top. Yep.
And that's how we do it, people. That's how we bring the pain. That's how we get everybody involved in what we do at Dr. Roto. Speaking of which, if you haven't been to the site, use code word WIN and you will get a percentage off of your subscription. I'm telling you right now, we are more than football. We are UFC as well. I can tell you right now, I've won more money this year off UFC than NFL. And it's not that I can't win money at NFL. It's because the NFL is diluted. The money is diluted. And the senators and everybody that want to increase the tax hikes and then they fail. Some places they go up. So as we cover this whole spectrum, this is why you need this show. Of course, I'm going to review UFC Vegas 112. I can't wait till Vegas 113. That's when my guy Julius Juicebox Walker gets the fight. He's on the main card for the first time. So congratulations, Jukebox. You definitely earned that spot on the card. And it's just great that somebody like Julius Juicebox Walker was able to give me a chance, bring the pain, give a Fight Club of Pain, come on, talk some fight theory and everything like that. And also want to extend that same thank you to Connor Seifert, who came on. He is the owner of the Oasis MMA Academy here in Erie, Pennsylvania. Both were really great interviews. We talked a lot of fight theory, talked about life, what gets him there. But I will tell you this, the next time Juicebox comes on, the next time Connor comes on, we're not talking to get each other. Now we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about things, people, because that's what we do and Bring the Pain. Bring the Pain isn't a one-trick pony. We just don't fade away during the football season. I used to do that. I remember one time when I had built up enough followers where I was making decent money, and then I took the whole year off and I lost everybody. And I will never do that for any of you pain bringers, any of you people that give me a shot. I'm completely thankful of every view, every like, share, follow that I get, because I really do try to give all of you the best information out there. And I know that a lot of people might just say at times we might just be blowing hot air out of our ass or whatnot, but at the same time, I like to try. I say it with my chest. I always wear it on my shirt, and at the same time, I'm always in the Subzoli Discord ready to help you with all your sports. Now, I do fight a lot, so that's that being part of that expertise, being part of the articles. Again, we'll talk about that later. And doing a lot of podcasting for drroto.com, it leaves me only so much time to be able to be in the room and answer everything. But I will tell you what, man, I love the off season. I could do a lot of interviews. So the fact that I was able to get 2 interviews out of the way, I mean, that's great. Of course, man, I did the Juicebox one with my computer, and my volume was all the way up, all the way up. We're moving all the way up. All right. So let's get to it. So I, of course, will give my DFS percentages out. Also, how a lot of my parlays that you could have found in the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto. We have the right cure for any fantasy sport. We'll definitely get to that. Also, I know that nobody played this bet, but I played this bet, and it was recommended, and it was talked about on the Fight Club of Pain last Thursday. Speaking of which, the Fight Club of Pain will be live. Dan and I will be doing a year in review. Our rookie season is done. My full-on UFC experiment is now a reality. It's one of the best podcasts for betting in DFS out there. I'll put the Fight Club of Pain on Thursday, 7 p.m. live up against any show. I can guarantee nobody has more units than us. Nobody. And the reason why is because that's what happens when you have the perfect tag team, like the Usos. Yeet, right? The Usos make it happen because one is good at something and the other is good at another. So like my brother from another mother, Dan brings the pain and brings that fight theory in, allowing me to focus on the actual fights, the breaking of the fights down, and all of the numbers. And that is what makes that show so unique. I mean, there's a lot of great shows, and I have mad respect for the people that I talk to. That will be We Want Picks, 138 MMA. I like Johnny Kape Picks. These are just people that kind of came on to me. So, of course, the whole We Want Picks crew, Jacob and Artem, like, they're all good. Everybody's got their stuff. And, of course, I can't leave out Ange, man. That guy's always running. But I give people like that respect, even though they're in due competition to us, because it doesn't matter. In this game, in the UFC game, we are all about that community and making this sport, this betting sport, and this DFS sport better than any of your sports. Unfortunately, that's just the way I feel. I feel that the UFC right now, and now that it's off, all of you can't really talk about it. But if you go back and you listen to the Fight Club of Pain, look at all the picks, take it out for the year, see how many units you were up, and then think about how that actually could have made you a lot of money. And then you think about how muddled football was, like I was talking about earlier. But let's get to it. Let's get to the big bet that nobody else had in the entire world but Heat Override and the Fight Club of Pain. We're talking about Jamie Lynn Horth versus Teresa Beleda. Yeah, that was, dude, starting off the card with a straight loss sucked. But guess what? The one thing I always talk to you about, and the one thing that makes the UFC unique, is being able to hedge perfectly. First and second round knockout plus 2,500. You find me a touchdown bet that's like that. Yeah, I know defense might happen. You could play the defense, but guess what? DK had a defensive touchdown only plus 2,000. I'm talking about a fight that somebody can get a knockout in the first or second round, and you can make plus 2,500. No parlays, no bullshit, plus 2,500. That was recommended on the Fight Club of Pain. But hey, while y'all just out there doing what you do, we're doing what we do all the time, every single week, except for our little vacation right now. Alan Fry Jr. versus Guilherme Pat. I took Pat. Bam, got my win. That fight was boring. Felt like that fight should have went under. That screwed one of my parlays, but that parlay was more of a self parlay rather than giving that out to everybody else like I gave out the other ones in the Fight Club of Pain and Dr. Roto's sub-only Discord. Melissa Croden versus Luana Santos. I picked Santos. Although I did recommend Croden on DFS, she was only really able to put up 24 points. She just got beat up, man. She got held down. That's what happens. Sometimes you get a better fighter, and they just lock you up, and there ain't nothing you could do about it. Sean Sheriff versus Steven Asplin. Asplin was phenomenal. Wait till you hear his percentage on the DFS slates. That was crazy. But we had Asplin winning. I had every way you could get a knockout. Here's something else that I will talk about the UFC being different than other people. I had every single knockout. I had first round knockout, first and second round knockout, knockout and sub, knockout in the first 2 minutes, knockout at this point, knockout at that point, right? I had all those knockouts just hit. It just went green, 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 green. green. But that being said, again, those were things. That's the information that we were giving out on the Fight Club of Pain. So that's just started right there. So right now, I'm 3-1 for the night. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going into some big favorites. Yaroslav Amosov versus Neil Magny. Now, Neil Magny, the soup can of the week, twice, he got souped up. Amosov beat him up, got me another win, and also Amosov was on about half of my DFS lineups. I played 4 on DK and 3 on FanDuel. So that's how I did it. Of course, I picked Joe Anderson Brito. I picked him over Isaac Thompson. I'm surprised that went the distance. I thought that Brito could have finished him a few times. Didn't happen. That happens. Of course, the Lemos versus Robinson fight was canceled. So we'll move along to Kenny Njaku versus Marcus Buchacha. Buchacha came through. He didn't score as many points as possible, but we did pick him to win. Moving along to Miguel Costa versus Morgan Shadia. Of course, we picked Costa. I've been on Costa all year long, and Costa has won me and the Fight Club of Pain a lot of money all year long. That's what we do here. Almeida versus Alexis Suix. Alexis Suix. I'm not playing this game. I've been at karate for like 2 days. I'm good, right? I picked Cesare. He got the win. Beautiful win, too. Yia Chikadze versus Kevin Vallejos. Now, we reviewed this fight. We went into depth about this fight. And let me just move along. Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. And as I said, Manel Kape was going to knock him out. Thought it was going to go a little longer. We had first, second, third round knockout sub, decision, no bet, knockout and points. We did have the round 3 win. Distance, no money line, parlayed, -102 knockout plus 110, in under 3.5 rounds plus 102, all recommended on the Fight Club of Pain. All hit. At the same time, what was crazy is, going back to Vallejos, I knew the action was going to be long. So knockout sub, knockout second, third round was plus 580. And then I did have sub, but that didn't work out. And then distance, no. Money line, yes, plus 236. And then we had decision, no bet, -350. Knockout for the fight was plus 130. And of course, I had action on the sub, which was plus 1,000. So we took some chances. Of course, the other fight that Dan and I covered was the Lemos and Robertson fight. We didn't get that fight, but when we review that fight next time, we'll be able to get that. So overall, I went 10-1-1, back on top. Last week's, 9-3-1 or something like that, whatever it was. That's actually, nope, that's my new paper. Anyway, that being said, so that wasn't a bad week overall for us. Hey, cheers everybody, beer break. That's what we do. Yeah. All right, let's get this banner off right now. We're gonna get into it. So overall, the parlay of pain, because we did a decision no bet on the Pachecha side, that got voided. So that left me 2-2. I didn't get the knockout in the Fry fight, and the distance no for the Almeida fight. Come on, man. We just got that fight over. Regardless, 2-2, practically broke even. Took the single bets on those 2, worked out. Let's get to the overall. So for the show, because of the eliminated fight, I went 2-0. Dan 1-1 because he picked Royval. To the DFS, Amosov 24%. Asplin was 45%, but it was good to have him. He put up a lot of points. He beat the hell out of that boy. Kape 35%. That was a godsend. Definitely love that. That was great. Buchecha 22%, but he only scored, I think, 54 something, 55 points on DraftKings. Don't hold me to it. I'm not going to go look it up. Move along. Pat was 35%. Not bad. Vallejos 35%, Costa 25%, Green was 20%, Santos was 16%, and Horth was 7%. A lot of the percentages were higher. A lot of people had gotten sharp. I think that they kind of went at this one, but some of those people, they're going to fall off. By the time we get the UFC 324, we'll be able to get some of those numbers back, find some of the lower. But it seemed like we were getting a lot of 20s, a lot of 30s in there. And even when I was watching the lives, I looked at the percentages and I was like, man, there was a lot of people on a lot of different fighters instead of everybody being on a 60, 70%. So a lot of people were practically split on this card. They didn't know like if they were going to take Royval or if they were going to take Chikadze, right? They didn't know if they were going to take him. So that right there allowed us to jump ahead on them and that. So overall, not bad DFS wise. We did have it. We did good. We got the cash lineups. We didn't hit in the GPPs, but things happen. It was just kind of a low scoring night in some senses, but we're happy we had Buchecha, and we also had, Asplund. So Asplund and Buchecha were in all my lineups. So that really helped out. Going overall, so I want to talk about the whole thing. So in the subs only Discord, I threw in after the Sunday morning show with Dr. Roto, I threw in a money leg parlay for the 1 p.m. games, 5 legs. Told y'all to round robin that. The Chiefs were the only loss on that. So we were able to make all of our money back going 4-1 and a little bit extra. This is why we round robin people. At the 4 p.m. games, we went 4-1 again, and that's cool. I totally liked it. Totally on that bandwagon. It was the Panthers. The Panthers got that loss for me too. So overall, 10-2 or 8-2. Not bad. Not bad. And this is free. Moving along. So I had a touchdown 5-leg parlay, went 3-2. We were able to nail the positives one positive, 2 negatives. We missed on Henry, and I missed on somebody else. I can't remember him offhand, whoever I missed on. But again, 3-2. Good return. Not the biggest return. So let's say I threw $10 down. I won $10.20. I won $10.80. I won $9.56 on some of the legs. So that wasn't too bad overall. Heading over to the UFC, I actually put a 7-leg parlay money line in the subs only Discord. It was like a plus 3,900. So what ended up happening was the Buchecha, what fight was that? That was the Buchecha fight. Yeah, the Buchecha fight. That getting called the draw. So that gave me that tie. Well, that voided that leg off of everything. So then all those 5 legs became 4 legs practically. And that's kind of where it kind of just, some of the money got miscued because I went 5-1-1 on that. The one loss being Bleda. But again, we hedged plus 2,500. Nobody gave you that. Don't even lie. He'd override. And Dan on the Fight Club of Pain at Dr. Roto gave you that. And that's why SiriusXM should have a UFC show. You should call me up. You should call Dan up. And we should make this happen. We're already on the channel. Give us an hour. I guarantee we'll get people talking fight. Because the Fight Club of Pain is an amazingly fun show. So, of course, the Parlay of Pain, because I had the Buchecha thing. We already went over that. 2-2. Now, the money line that I had, which was the finishing money line off of, no, this was the one that I put in the subs only Discord. So not the 7, 5-leg one. 3-1-1, Bleda being, of course, the mess. And then, of course, the void with Buchecha. So that overall, if you noticed what I just said, and it's all positive. When round robin, it's all positive. You make money by going to Dr. Roto's subs only Discord in playing just my bets. But that didn't include Lou hitting his bet for the Thursday night game, me hitting a lot of my bets on the Thursday night game, which is where it started at. Then the UFC hitting. Then, of course, the NFL money leg parlays I gave all day plus the touchdown, 3-2. That's solid. Same time. Now we're on Monday. Last night, Jalen Warren's last catch put Lou over. He hit his parlay. I had my 2 touchdown parlay, of course, smashing that in the fourth quarter. So that really helped out too. That was like a plus 486. I missed on the first quarter parlay. I did it, and I missed on the touchdown parlays. I just completely missed whatever happens. So, but overall, it wasn't a bad week at Dr. Roto. And that doesn't include Steve doing the basketball. He just hit $100 last night. Again, took 5th overall. Last week took first place, took a $200 single entry down. The NHL is hitting. Actually, DraftKings has a 50% loss back on theirs tonight for DFS hockey. I'm going to go play that. I'm going to go play that, and I'm going to use that 50% loss back. Why? Because why not? That's why they play it there. I'm trying to win, though, people. I'm trying to win. So you want to get the subs-only Discord, use code word WIN, and you will be our rich friend. So all that together, I want to get overall the schedule. So that was a good week at Dr. Roto, just with all those bits, just with the subs-only Discord. That doesn't include the Fantasy Clown Ed's bets. That doesn't include everybody else's bets as well as Dr. Roto himself giving out the bets on the Sirius XM Fantasy Show on from 7 to 10 on Saturdays. And coming up on baseball, they usually have them on Saturday and Sunday. So get ready for that. And then, of course, Dr. Roto being in the subs-only Discord at Dr. Roto from 10:30 to noon, answering your start-sit questions. Let's win championships, people. I've got a couple chances. I lost. I'll talk about this. So let me get to the schedule real quick. So coming up, of course, we're going to have some UFC time off. So I've already lined up a podcast about Ace Frehley with my buddy Anthony from here in Erie. He's a Pot of Thunder guy. So, check them out. Check out their stuff. And so I'm going to have him on. And I have a special video game music episode planned. I have me and a bunch of VGM guys get together, and we were doing this composer appreciation every summer. Well, we decided to change it to the Video Game Hall of Fame. Everybody elects one game or just elects their game with those songs. Everybody gets a chance. It's what deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to have that coming up too. And so this is just a season of giving. This is what everything, and this is what I love doing podcasting about, is being able to talk to all of you and talk all these plays out and just get that money out and just consistently do it, consistently win money. And then every once in a while, hit big, boom, take the family out for a dinner or a trip, whatever it may be. That's what the true purpose of Dr. Roto is. The office is always open. That's why we say that all the time, right? So, of course, UFC is off. When it comes back on the 24th, the Super Bowl will be right after that. That's when football, of course, will be done. Of course, you will have me for the UFC and football up to that point. Also, Vegas 113, Juicebox Walker fighting on it. Can't wait for that. So that's going to be everything leading up into the beginning of February. Also, I go all the way. So I've already submitted all of my articles, but my top defensive article for the week. So you'll have that at Dr. Roto. Also, that you'll have all this at Dr. Roto, both with my UFC rankings, my WWE rankings. So, of course, I got 2 more weeks of my IDP Heats of the Week, my two more weeks of the hardest hits article, which I review and give you a piece of that on here every week. The rest of it is behind a paywall at Dr. Roto. So there's 5 players for the waiver wire every single week. You get that from me. And then you get the one free one that I kind of like to target on that I feel that if he's available and you need that spot, or you haven't been, or you had TJ Watt, you need somebody on the defensive line, kind of gave it away there. Then I got this guy for you. So you want to get that. Now, of course, there'll be pop-up shows. Dan, this show will get, of course, shorter. So I'll be able to focus on the NFL games as a whole and talk about my bets from each game in the DFS and him playing the best ball. I'm going to have a playoff best ball podcast as well, too. Look for that to happen week 1. I will give out my best ball rankings for week 1. I play best ball every single week in the playoffs. I just lost in 2 of my best ball, took 4th place, took 3rd place in my 2 out of 3 leagues on DraftKings. So I'm out. Scott Fishbowl, I had Mahomes go down, Watson go down, the whole thing with Warren. I missed out on the next round by 4 points. I was up by 60. Things happen, but it was great to be part of Scott Fishbowl 15. So I want to say, make sure you get over there to @fantasycares.org and donate. This money goes to great causes. The event, seeing Scott at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, held by Bob Long. These are all people. This is a great thing. And then meeting Kevin. Heck, I haven't even got to do a podcast with Kevin from Trophy Smack yet because we've been busy, and he does his own fantasy football content and podcast. So I'm going to get that podcast lined up as well, too. So if you want to hear about Kevin's story for Trophy Smack and everything, the belts. Yeah. You meet these people like the IDP Hunter, Steve. He was part of my introductory IDP league at Dr. Roto. It was great to have him on. He put his articles in there. Everybody had access to my articles. So we got to teach a lot of people, a lot of staff members about IDP football. It's great. I love it. Of course, I went a little crazy with the bonus. And Steve's like, bro, that bonus is going to be crazy. You would literally be predicted to win by 20 points, and some defensive player would get like a 25-yard sack, and it would count like 20 points. It was insane, but it was fun. It was fun to learn, and definitely changing that next year. So you get all that, and then, of course, baseball. I do the betting article on Dr. Roto on Saturday and Sundays. So you get all that back, but you're going to get UFC. People, the Fight Club of Pain in the second season is only going to get better. Why? Because I haven't had to take time out of my life to watch 1,000 hours of tape. I've already watched it this year. The dedication that I do. I'm a tape guy and a number guy. Tape always first, because being a fighter, I like to see and feel what I bet on rather than actually look at a number in a computer, because the computer don't fight, people. This is the one sport you have an edge on against the books. And sometimes you don't, because it gets called a void and you don't make all the money. But if Buchecha does win that fight, then I make even more money. I pulled just off of these one losses over $50 back, right? And that's good. If I win it all, I win a lot more than $100. So that's the sauce that we're cooking up in the soup kitchen with Dan and I. So that being said, let's get to it. Let's get to this week's IDP player pickup of the week. Ooh, yeah. Hopefully you're still in the playoffs right now. Let's get it. I'm talking about defensive line Jordan Davis of the Eagles. He gets to play Washington, then Buffalo, then Washington. These teams have a lot of action up the middle. He has been, remember when I said Cam Hayward 2 weeks ago, and then Cam Hayward brought it? Cam Hayward had a sack last game. Cam Hayward has been a wreck. Davis is the same way, getting 3 or 5 tackles. If you got a defensive line guy that's only getting 1 tackle, you can definitely get that. Sorry about that. The dog's getting jacked up, apparently. That's what happens. All right. So 25 tackles with 1.5 sacks in the last 4 games. That's a defensive tackle you should have on your championship team if you need one. Let's move over to Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving is my
Macho pick of the week. Ooh, yeah.
That's how we're doing it. You know how I've been rolling. You know when I pick a player, they're going to score a touchdown. Bucky Irving is 6,700 on DraftKings. He's 8,200. Love that price on FanDuel. I love James Cook's price too, by the way. That being said, right there, I'm telling you, Bucky Irving going into Carolina. The Panthers are reeling. He's going to get the point. Baker Mayfield was mad. Dude, Mike Evans, 3rd and 28, whatever that was when he was screaming going out. If you don't think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what's up, Steve Rich? That's your team, right? That's a little shout out for you. Aren't going to win that game and aren't going to run through them, you're wrong. And the guy that's going to run through them is Bucky Irving. Right now, you can get his touchdown prop plus 125 on FanDuel. His alt line of 50 yards rushing is a negative 275. Parlayed together, you have a plus 164. You got a seasonal player, you got a DFS player, and you got a parlay all on one show, plus UFC talk. That's how we do it. That's how we bring the pain, man. I hope everybody has a great, great day. Make sure you check out Dr. Roto and the guys with the first look tomorrow. Also, Lou has a new show called Baseball Angry? What? I can't remember it offhand. Sorry, Lou. But anyway, that new show just hit. It's the second show, airs tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You want to catch that. Also, Fight Club of Pain, year in review. Thursday, Dr. Roto, Swami, and Willie live fight on the Friday Night Lights on Friday. And then me and Steve, we can get together. But no matter what, you will have the Ultra Contrarian Show on Saturday. That's what we do with Dr. Roto. That's how you bring the pain, and that's how you slay the Saints. Ooh, yeah! I'll see y'all next time. Catch it.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well